Yo, what's going on, guys? And today we'll be talking about my defensive player of the year. Look, at the start of the year, it looked like it'd be Draymond Green, but then he got hurt. Okay, he only played 43 games, and then there was obviously Rudy Gobert. Over the last few years, has been awesome. Bam Adebayo had an incredible year, but I agree with John Hollinger of The Athletic. My defensive player of the year is Jaren Jackson Jr. This man is ridiculous. So, what made Draymond Green so valuable was his ability to be the defensive leader from either the 4 or 5 position and guard every position, allowing the Warriors to go big or go small. Thankfully, another Michigan State product in Jaren Jackson Jr. is over here as a major reason the Grizzlies are 20-3 since Ja Morant has been out. And the biggest reasons why the Memphis Grizzlies are the 4th ranked defense in the entire league, okay? I know Jaren Jackson, I've said all season Jaren Jackson Jr. has rebounded. I know the shooting splits aren't what they were his second season, but he's finally back from injury. And he's a guy who, look, Jackson led the NBA in a block rate while not playing center for most part of the senior season. And look, Jackson led the NBA he was really good at blocking shots, okay, and block. I think that's ridiculous. What are your thoughts down below if you guys agree with me, Jaren Jackson Jr.? And opponents only shot 49.7% at the rim if Jaren Jackson Jr. was there. That's the best percentage in the league. And the sheer playing time is a real differentiator, okay? And the thing is while foul trouble is still an obstacle for Jaren Jackson Jr., he played 2,081 minutes this season. That's 277 more than Robert Williams. That's 289 minutes more than Bam Adebayo. He'd have even played more minutes under his belt if the Grizzlies weren't frequently blowing out teams that would leave Jaren Jackson Jr. watching Yves Pons and Xavier Tillman doing some garbage time playing. And Jackson is averaging just 27.4 minutes a night, but was available 74 times in this team's first 75 contests before a couple of rest nights as the Memphis Grizzlies prepare for the playoffs. And the minute advantage is a real distinguishing feature of his candidacy vis-a-vis Williams or Adebayo, or even, well, I say Gobert won't win it because of voter fatigue, and he doesn't give as much value as Adebayo or Jaren Jackson Jr., in my opinion, or Draymond Green. And any discussion of this award automatically is a reference to Rudy Gobert, who was, again, awesome this year, even if he slipped a little bit from his peak. Gobert rates as the top defender in a couple of the alphabet soup ratings. The Utah defense was, again, turned into sawdust anytime he checked out. The difference is that Gobert has only played 63 games this year, and that he's a one-positional player, while Jaren Jackson Jr. could play 2. Arguably, if they want to go super big, he could even play 3. But finally, while we're here, why can't a guard win a defensive player of the year, chatter? But it turns out that the game of basketball tends to favor taller players. That is particularly true on the defensive side of the floor. That is why centers tend to win the defensive player of the year. The lack of guards to win the trophy is just as much as a mystery as the lack of 6'4" jockeys or 138-pound linebackers in the NFL. One could argue that a guard could have a strong case if he was so much better relative to other guards that he still conveyed massive defensive advantage to his team. And while Marcus Smart has become a bit of a celebrity this year as a guard who's not named Gary Payton, who could win it, and I'm not sure he's created enough guilt to warrant that kind of vote yet, but he's still a first all defensive pick this year. And look, the difference between him, Drew Holiday, and Alex Caruso, which is wide enough to golf to rate him onto the switching multi-defensive player. Jaren Jackson Jr. is the defensive player of the year. No questions asked, guys.